Millions of years ago, before the birth of civilizations, before cities, before writing, before even language itself, our planet was home to creatures who lived and died without ever understanding the destiny they were shaping. The Earth then was raw and wild, filled with vast open plains, thick forests shrinking under changing climates, rivers winding endlessly across the land, and skies teeming with birds and storms. In this untamed world, long before us, walked the first traces of humanity. Africa, the mother continent, is where our story begins. Scientists often call it the cradle of humankind. Through bones weathered by time, footprints preserved in ancient stone, and the landscapes that still echo with life, Africa holds the earliest chapters of human history. It is here that we find our beginnings, in species like Australopithecus afarensis. Australopithecus was not human as we imagine today. They were small, rarely taller than 4 feet, light on their feet, and with brains about a third the size of our own. Their faces reminded us more of apes than of people. Jutting jaws, sloped foreheads, long arms suited for climbing, and yet within them, there was something new, something that would set the stage for everything to come. Unlike their ape relatives, Australopithecus spent less time among the branches of trees and more time upon the ground. They were pioneers of a new lifestyle, one filled with both risk and possibility. The savannas of Africa were harsh. Predators roamed freely, big cats lurking in the grass, hyenas and wild dogs scavenging at night, crocodiles waiting at waterholes. Survival here was never guaranteed, but adaptation was the only choice. Among the most profound shifts was the act of walking upright. Bones found in sites like Hadar in Ethiopia show clear signs of bipedalism. Their knees angled inward for balance, their pelvis reshaped for striding, their feet leaving behind impressions that matched something unmistakably human. In simple terms, they stood tall. This may not sound extraordinary until we understand what it meant. Walking upright freed their hands. No longer bound to the climbs of branches or the desperate scramble on all fours, they could carry food across distances, infants in their arms, or stones and bones that would one day become tools. Upright walking also allowed them to see further, to peer over grasses that concealed danger. Even if they weren't the strongest or the fastest, their eyes could scan the horizon, buying precious seconds between life and death. But progress always carried a price. To live upon the ground was to step into greater danger. Without sharp claws, without great speed or strength, these early hominids seem vulnerable. And yet survival is not always about brute force. It's about endurance, adaptation, and cooperation. Their groups were small, perhaps 30 or 40 individuals. Families and companions moved together across dangerous terrains. Cooperation became essential. Imagine one early morning on the savannah. The group rises with the sun, mothers adjusting infants on their hips, males scanning the distance for movement, children following with small, clumsy steps. Every day was a balance of hunger, thirst, and fear. Scavenging carcasses, gathering fruits and roots, competing with other animals. They used the land for every resource it provided. When danger came, they watched, listened, and relied on each other. In moments of crisis, a warning cry could save many. This subtle form of communication would grow, generation by generation, laying the path toward language. The fossils tell us much about their world. Look at a pelvis shaped for upright life. Look at a jaw worn from chewing tough vegetation. See in their footprints frozen in volcanic ash, the unmistakable impression of beings who walked on 2 feet, side by side, through the African wilderness. These fragile traces, like whispers from the past, remind us of their determination. They did not know, but they were setting into motion the human story. Their days were filled with threats, their nights with uncertainty. Yet they endured. They were not inventors, not yet artists, not yet storytellers. But in their wandering across Africa, they proved something greater. That resilience, not raw power, defines success in nature. Every slow, awkward step carried them forward, and in those steps was destiny. Think about the scale of time. They walked the earth millions of years before the first pyramid rose, before the first word was spoken or written, before kings and empires. And yet, without them, there would be no us. Their survival was the foundation on which every human achievement now stands. From the safety of trees to the risks of the plains, they changed their way of life. From tentative steps to confident strides, they redefined what it meant to exist in a dangerous world. Their lives were brutal, yes, but every generation that endured passed on the key to becoming more. The first hesitation of standing tall led over countless ages to confidence, adaptation, and intelligence. And so the story begins with fragile beings, small groups under African skies, struggling, enduring, adapting. They do not know art, they do not know language, but they have begun something more powerful than they can imagine. A journey, not of one life or one family, but of a species. When we look around today at our towers of glass and steel, at our inventions beyond the wildest dreams of the animal kingdom, it is easy to forget how it all began. But if you strip away the layers of technology, culture, and history, at the foundation you will find this: a small, ape-like creature putting one uncertain foot in front of the other, stepping into a future they could not foresee. That first step is the reason we stand where we do now, not only upon the Earth but beyond it, walking on the moon, dreaming of Mars, exploring the stars. From those earliest footprints in the soil of Africa, humanity's path stretches further than our ancestors could ever have imagined. This was the first step, the beginning of humankind, the fragile dawn of everything to come. And as we trace their path in fossils, in bones, and in memories carved into Earth itself, we are reminded that their struggle is our inheritance. Their endurance is our strength. Their footsteps are our story.